And also wait for me to, I'll like introduce who is next. And then you will just pop on cam at the jury. Okay, we're just gonna wait another minute or two and then we'll begin. Okay, and we can begin. First of all, hello everybody, and welcome to the season 5 finale of HAVOC: A Summer to Die For, where we will find out who will be our 5th winner of the HAVOC series. Either Marcus or Amaris will claim that title. So how tonight will work is we will start with the opening statements, then we will go into the jury questioning, then we will do the closing statements, and then we will do the vote reveal, and then the cast will have a reunion after. So Marcus, since you did win the final endurance immunity challenge, you were able to choose the order of the opening and closing statements. So you chose that you will open first, followed by Amaris, and then for the closing statements, it will be flipped. So it will then go Amaris and then Marcus. Yeah. So Marcus, whenever you're ready, you can begin. Your time will start when you say your first word. All right. Good luck.
Hey everyone. Before I get to my speech, I wanted to thank production for this opportunity to compete in my first ever org. This has been the most fun I've had in a while and a good way for me to decompress from my full-time job and part-time like graduate school work. So I really do appreciate the opportunity. I came into this game not knowing what to expect. And to be honest, I had one goal in mind, not to be the first one booted. I never imagined I'd get this far, and I definitely didn't envision the journey I had to endure to get to this point. I came to this game with a strategy from my two favorite players in Survivor, Jeremy and Boston Rob. I wanted to utilize Jeremy's shield strategy to always have at least one bigger threat in front of me at all times, and Boston Rob's strategy of having one person I could fully trust. So on my starting Juniper tribe, I used my social abilities and the fact that we both lived in Ohio to partner up with someone that fit into both of my strategies, Dusty. This came in handy when my name was brought up for the first time during our first tribe swap at New Camphor. There were 4 original Camphor members that were seemingly sticking together. I planted a seed that Megan and Lauren would be willing to flip, and Dusty was able to help lay the groundwork for that to happen, all while letting Dusty think she could just use me as a number in the future. My game started to go downhill when I was blindsided by my allies as they all flipped and voted out Josh without telling me during our second swap as the Purple Tribe. Immediately after, I was swapped yet again to New Juniper with 2 people I didn't know, 1 person that I had blindsided, and 2 others that blindsided me on the previous vote, one of which I had just voted for. I knew my game was over, but I got lucky. And the 4 other members of my tribe chose to blindside a paranoid German over voting for me, an easy target. They did this under the premise of creating an underdog alliance into the merge. I came into the merge with an alliance I didn't know I could trust, but they were all I had. So when Kevin B and Tori had their target on Charity, I wanted to flip the script and go for them. Due to some good moves made by Kevin B, saving Tori during the first merge tribal and dressing Charity up as a threat, my plan failed and she went home. After Tori got the boot the next round, I was blindsided yet again with Kevin B going home. And at this point, I knew I was alone. No one trusted me or wanted to work with me. Even though at this point I was mentally exhausted and ready to throw in the towel, I realized the information I heard from touchy subjects could be used to my advantage. Knowing that I was on the bottom, I knew I could be seen as an easy vote, so I used that opportunity to knock out bigger threats. I lied to Nick about my useless mystery note advantage being an idol so he'd vote Elise with me under the premise that both Nick and I were receiving votes. That way, if he played his idol, it would at least tie the vote between me and Elise, and they would hopefully get sent home over me, or he wouldn't play his idol and get sent home himself. It was a win-win scenario. After Nick, my next two shields were Hannah and Elise. I was able to find a crack in the majority 6 alliance, getting them to flip on both Hannah and Elise by crafting a narrative around Elise's dominant social game and Hannah's challenge beast abilities as well as her idol. This both flushed Hannah's idol and sent Elise home. Once Elise was gone, my next two shields were Davey and Lauren, the only remaining duo in the game. By creating yet another narrative that 2 people voting in the final 5 would be extremely dangerous, Lauren and Davey were the next 2 boots. At this point in the game, I got my power back. I knew that I at least had one person who would always vote for me, and that was Amaris. Even though her and I weren't always on the same page voting-wise, I was able to make a strong connection with her as my new ride or die. And it was at this point I had promised to take Amaris to the final. After Davey and Lauren, my new shield was Hannah. I created a narrative of her having deep connections on the jury and be the best to win a potential final 3 endurance challenge. After Hannah was voted out, I knew all I had to do was beat Kevin in the final immunity challenge. After 3.5 hours, I won final immunity, voted out the remaining member of that core alliance, and took my closest ally with me to the final 2. Now, I know my game was not perfect by any means, and I accept that, but I'm still proud of it. I took one of the most undesirable situations a player could be put in and turned it into something positive. By at least having one shield in front of me each round, I was able to advance tribal after tribal until people started seeing me as a real threat. But by that time, it was too late. With my strategic and social abilities, I was able to get to this point without ever actually having an idol or majority alliance, while also attending more tribal councils than anyone else in the game and constantly having false narratives always be told about me by others. For the people in the jury, I've obviously made mistakes along the way in this game, but I'm still here. And I hope that whatever differences we may have can be pushed aside and my gameplay will now earn me your vote. And I'm also very excited to answer any questions that you may have. Thank y'all.
Awesome. Thank you, Marcus, for that speech. Amaris, you are up next. Your time will begin when you say your first word.
Sorry, just trying to find peace and quiet.
You're all good. I won't start your time until like you're actually sitting and actually start.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Am I on cells? Not ideal. Okay. Okay. I'll start now then. So I just want to start off by thanking HAVOC Production for this amazing opportunity. I played my first org maybe 2 months ago, and I told myself I was going to take a really long break before I ever got into something like this again, because I know how much time and dedication all this takes. But this has been an amazing experience, and I think a great reason for that has been all the cast that played alongside me. I feel like you all brought something special to the game, and I hope you guys can hear me out with an open mindset as to what unique approach I played in the game to get me here to the end. So sorry, I'm a little nervous. Just to start off, I knew going into this game that I wanted to have a low profile. When you watch my confessionals and just everything, I knew that I wanted to come into this game not being such huge of a leader, especially because right off the bat, when I saw everyone's About Me videos and I met everyone on my Sycamore tribe, I knew that everyone brought a lot to the table, and there was a lot of personalities that I knew were going to overpower my voice at times. I could just tell there was like really strong energies. So I just focused on my main goal, which was the mistake I made on my last org, which was not finding like ride or die people, not finding people that motivated me to get to the end. So right off the bat, I formed relationships with people on my first tribe. We formed the TAC Alliance between Charity, me, Kevin, and Tori, Kevin B. And I was so thankful for getting into that gear because right off the bat, I was targeted by someone on my tribe, Christian. I feel like that really set in motion my image in the game, like pre-merge. Like I didn't know what the other side was thinking, but once I met up with everyone, I found out that when Dusty was trying to gun for me right before pre-merge, I found out that people had this misconception that I was inactive, that I wasn't putting enough effort into the game. But because I already had a low profile, and luck has a lot to do in this game because my tribes prior to Dusty trying to vote me off were successful. I luckily had enough bonds with people to protect me, and people were coming to me telling me like, hey, like so-and-so is like trying to vote you out, so-and-so has said your name. So that happened with Dusty, and that happened when German started throwing out my name too. It was during that moment, like before pre-merge, that I realized that my status was going to be hard to get over after so many people came at me. I knew that my relationships with people were, I couldn't depend on them. Like as much as I wanted to depend on my TAC Alliance, I knew that coming into that merge, I needed to like buckle down and really decide who am I going to work with, because there's just so many figureheads. Right off the bat, 3 people who I was close with, like I just mentioned in my TAC Alliance, Charity first, then Tori, then Kevin B, people who I had like probably the most trust with in the game, even though I knew they were high profile players. I knew that after they were gone, like I was going to be alone. And I made certain decisions in those votes where I didn't want my profile to be exposed of me being like on the lowdown. Like I made decisions like on not voting with people because I wanted people to continue having that misconception that I wasn't aware of like what I was doing, that like I wasn't in on the Charity vote, that I wasn't in on the Tory vote, that I wasn't in on things like that. Like I kept that because I wanted to be able to go between groups and see like where I could find my niche or who I could like get to like just keep that narrative that I was a low dog, like that I wasn't like doing much in the game.
You have 1 minute
like,
remaining, Amaris.
Okay, I basically used that all to my advantage. And I think the main flip in my game was when I decided to cut loose from my ends with like Kevin and all of them, and I voted Kevin out. That's like when I really switched gears and I really was able to play different sides. Like Marcus mentioned, we had formed before merge, going into merge, we had formed this underdog alliance between me, Marcus, Kevin, and Elise and Charity. So there was already a pre-existing group there, which I don't think that many people realized. So I manipulated that relationship between Marcus and me because like we bonded so well that when Charity got voted out, and then like with the Nick vote, I realized that that was my new ride or die. And I was going to make sure any possible way that I could keep Marcus in the game with me, because I knew that his vote and all the votes was going to matter for me, because he was always going to, even if we didn't vote perfectly all the time, I knew he was going to vote in some shape or form with me against others. And
Okay, Amaris, I'm sorry, but your time is up. Yeah, I'm sorry. So
Okay.
we're supposed to get
Yeah.
5 minutes.
It's
So
okay.
thank you. No, yeah. Thank you both for those great opening speeches. We will now move on to the jury questioning. Like I said, we will go in the order of how everybody was voted off. So Charity, you can pop on camera. Your time will start when you say your first word. If you want like a time update, of course, just ask me, but I will give you a 2-minute update. Okay, like when there's 2 minutes left. So whenever you're ready.
Hey, I feel like I haven't talked to either of you in so long.
I know.
Yeah, but anyways, congrats to both of you on making the end. I feel like you two had very difficult journeys to get to the end, just from what I'm hearing. And I feel like you guys, from start to finish, went through a lot. So I'm super proud of you both. You know, I had personal relationships with you both. So like my heart's feeling pretty full that you guys are both here. So my first question, you guys both kind of touched on it in your speech, but I'm gonna, ask it anyways. So on a scale of 0 to 100, how much would you say luck contributed to you making the final two? And 0 is like, no luck, I did it all myself, and 100 means you didn't do anything and only luck contributed. So whoever wants to answer first, just a number. You don't need to explain it. I have a second part to the question where you can explain it.
I would say 100 because I think luck has a lot to do with this game, no matter how you are positioned.
100, okay.
I would say solid like 75.
Okay, so you both, I guess, are on the side that luck had a huge factor in your game. So I guess that transitions into my next question, and you guys can go into a bit more depth with this. But what was one point in the game where you just got lucky? So I guess like a situation where everything was out of your hands and it somehow worked out anyways, and how did that contribute to your success in the game? And then I guess also something you can tag onto that question is, do you think had you not gotten lucky at this point that you mentioned, do you think you would still be at the end? So who, let's see, Amherst went first last time, so Marcus, you can go first this time.
I would definitely say the luckiest point in the game was when I was on the new Juniper tribe. And it was with, I think, me, you, German, Elise, Kevin, R, and Amaris. And I definitely was the name that was going to go home. But y'all rallied and saved me, before we actually entered the merge. So I think honestly, without that, I would have been out and I wouldn't have even made the merge at all. And even in my opening speech, like I realized like that was luck. And with that, I was able to like continue to fight in the merge and then get to this point. So I would definitely say that was like the luckiest point of my game.
Okay, Amherst, so what is the point in the game where you would say you got the luckiest? And do you think you'd still be here if you didn't get lucky at that point?
I think the luckiest point in my game was when I decided to vote with Tori and Kevin for Elise on the second round. The reason why I say that is because that was a huge thing for me to have done, knowing that the numbers were not going to be there. I basically put like my whole image and like once again like my like what are you thinking Amherst mentality out on the line. And Elise like forgave me for that and was still willing to like work with me and stuff. I just think that's really lucky because like they really didn't have to do that. And I feel like that helped me like change my fate in the game as well and like still be able to play for the rest of the merge.
Okay, so just to clarify, you think your luckiest point in the game was Elise forgiving you for voting for them? I just want to make sure that I understood.
Well, not necessarily like them forgiving. Like I just think like the whole. I mean, it's not that it's luck, but I feel like after. Well, it is luck because I feel like after you write someone's name, like you can't really debate on like how they're gonna treat you after that. And I feel like I gambled really hard knowing that the numbers were not going to be there, and putting someone's name down who I still wanted to work with. Like I gambled really hard on that. So the fact that they were still willing to work with me after that, I think I got really lucky in that because I just felt like they wouldn't have if it was another person.
Okay. Hold on. Nicholas, how much time do I have? I want to see if I have time for like one more like little question.
You have 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. I'm good. So I guess on the flip side, what's one point in the game where you just got unlucky? I just want to know from both of you. I mean, I know that Amherst, you said you got 100% lucky, but I know, like, I don't think 100% lucky would mean anything unless you were kind of just like a plank doing nothing. But I don't think that's the case for you. So, what was a point in the game when you would say you got unlucky?
I think a point in the game where I was unlucky was probably I think just, how would I say unlucky? I think maybe like when I kept like, I think one of my most unlucky moments was kind of like my word vomit problem and just being like very nervous. So like on the Dusty vote, for example, I published my personal thoughts on the vote in the public chat, and everyone got to read like what I was thinking at that moment. And so I thought that was very unlucky that I was somewhat on the chopping block, and that in that same moment when I'm already dealing with so much, I happened to unleash something like that. And just, I'm just like adding things on top of my negative label without even trying. So I thought that was very unlucky.
Okay. And then Marcus.
Yeah, I would definitely say the unluckiest was probably the move to try and save you during the first merge, tribal. Not knowing what Kevin B's advantage was to literally remove Tori from tribal. I definitely think that was unlucky and led to probably one of my biggest mistakes was like leaking the vote to you. I just wasn't thinking, took myself out of the game, and it, I mean, it's no one's fault but my own, like I'm not blaming or anything. But it definitely was probably like a shot like in my game, which resulted me, being in the bottom for the majority of the merge. So that was probably my most like unlucky thing that could have happened.
Yeah, sounds like you're talking about my most unlucky. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know if there's time, or I don't know if there's time just to me at like one little comment, like I think you're definitely right, Charity, on when you say like if I was 100% lucky, like I don't think I would have got here. Like I think when I say 100% lucky, when I've watched Survivor and things, like I can't help but to think that like things that are out of your control have to somehow land in that place, even with what you're doing. As much like, even though I was pushing really hard for my personal agenda, I have to be really lucky that other people are just gonna so happen to follow along. Kind of like, I mean, we'll get into it later, but I just wanted to clarify on that.
Okay. I guess since you got the chance to clarify, is there anything else either of you want to clarify about anything you said before we end my time? And that's not like a leading thing. Like I was just curious. I'll take that as a no. Maybe. Wait.
Well, I don't know. I just feel like your question is pretty interesting because like I feel like a lot of times I was labeling myself as like unlucky, or like, like I was feeling kind of down sometimes when things like would just happen to me magically, like me accidentally publishing my thoughts. But at other times, I really think luck really came into play in a good way. Like, for example, when Nick didn't play his idol, or just things like that. I feel like I contributed to those little things. But at the same time, like I can't help but deny that luck had something to do with all those moves.
1 minute remaining.
Okay. And then I just wanted to clarify real quick.
Okay,
like
yeah,
I was just talking about like the move because I wanted that to like kind of like be my move that I could add to my resume in case I got to this point. And the unlucky thing was like knowing that like someone else was gonna like make two really, really good moves like in the game. So that's kind of like what I was talking about.
Yeah, well, obviously I appreciated the attempt. But yeah, that's all I have. You guys are probably going to get a lot of hard questions, so just breathe and think about your answers. And yeah, I mean, good luck, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Charity, for your questions. Up next, we have the second juror, Tori. So, Tori, you can pop on cam when you're ready, and your time will begin when you say your first word. You're on mute, by the way, and you're also driving, so please be careful.
How are you guys doing?
Hey.
Good. How about you?
Good.
I'm good. My questions are not hard at all, so tell me more about them. And also, I don't think mine will be 10 minutes, but congratulations on making it this far. I'm so happy for both of you. I hope you guys have had so much fun. My biggest question is, if you're like looking, well, first of all, are you surprised that you made it this far, or are you like, nah, like I knew I was gonna make it this far?
I'm gonna be honest, I am a little surprised. I don't think anyone was expecting us two to be in the final two. So I would say I was a little surprised. Again, I just didn't want to be the first one like out in the game. So yeah.
I'm definitely surprised. I feel like it's been a rocky road here, but I'm happy to be here, no matter what. So, yeah.
Good. If you could like redo the same, not the same exact game, but like the same people in the game, right? So like the opportunity to do like the whole game over again. Would you do like the exact same thing? I mean, it's okay if you say yes, because like that's understandable, because like why wouldn't you if you're this far? But if you could like redo the whole thing, is there anything that you would do completely different, or is there any like major regrets that you're like, I definitely should not have done that? And it's okay if there isn't. You can be like, no.
Emerson, if you want to go first, you can. Do you want? Do you?
It doesn't.
Okay.
I don't have yeah.
Okay. So I would definitely say there's a couple of regrets I do have, and both of them were because I got too comfortable, I guess, because I thought things were kind of going my way, and I again let my guard down. A big thing was, like as I said before, like kind of leaking the vote during the first tribal. And I think that as a result of that, I got labeled a certain way, and a lot of people had a certain perception of me that didn't really help my case. Maybe it would have gotten me out earlier, because maybe people would have thought I was a threat early on instead of like later on during the merge. But I definitely would try to do that over, just because like it was a mistake that I did make.
For me, I think one of my biggest regrets is just not just like, especially in the beginning of the game, like just not enjoying it just like for what it was. I think like I came into this game a little bit shooken up from playing before, and I think I wish I would have just loosened up like a little bit right off the bat with everyone, so that maybe my personality could have shined through a little bit more early on, so that when rumors started flying around, like it wasn't like super hard to like redeem myself from those things. But no matter what, I don't regret my game, and overall, like I don't have a huge thing that I would say I would take back, except for that, and like not forcing, like not going like more up and beyond with my relationships with people. Like even though I got to know everyone, I think in the beginning I was a little bit more like paranoid about just getting through challenges and stuff than like just enjoying it and calling up people just more for fun things and just having casual conversations. So I think that's one thing I wish I could change about the game.
Is there anything that like surprised you? Like if you had to choose one moment that you're like, oh my God, like I can't believe they voted for that person, or like I can't believe that happened. Like what moment in the game, like I guess, surprised you the most?
For me, it was the first vote that I was blindsided, and that was the when Josh got eliminated back when we were on the purple tribe, I think. That was like, I mean, a complete surprise because I just wasn't like aware of that at all. And it was kind of the first time I felt like out of control. And one of those, times where I let my guard down and didn't, think things through.
I think for me, 100%, like one thing that like set me off really bad was the charity vote because we had talked about like wanting to go forward together. And obviously, I ended up discovering more things and like, we were all hiding things from each other. Maybe all of us had like final twos with everyone and stuff. But besides that, like I had a great bond with her. So when all that unfolded and like I already knew I was kind of on the bottom, so I knew I was kind of being excluded out of major plans. But that totally surprised me no matter what, even though I felt it coming that whole day, because I just wish I would have had more control to have guided things better. And even though prior to that I had tried to like even make Charity and Kevin B connect again and like fix things and stuff, like it wasn't working out. So I really feel like that was kind of like the train that set me off, and I was like, I'm gonna be alone soon, so I really need to start being more independent in this game, because if Charity's gone, like I can't like be depending on my alliances and like that to get me through this game.
Yeah, that's honestly all I have for you guys. I'm so happy for you both. It's also a game, so no hard feelings whatsoever. I hope, I wish the both of you guys luck. Don't be nervous about this. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tori. And I hope you get to your destination safely. Okay.
Bye.
All right. So next up, we have the third juror of the season. That is Kevin B. So Kevin B, whenever you're ready, you can pop on and begin.
Is it working?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool beans. Okay, so I just want to congratulate the both of you. I feel like all three of us can relate to the fact that we were targets in this game, and I can like see how like if you guys made it all this way, I can't believe, oh my god, that stress, y'all, that fucking stress, I would be pulling my hair out at this point. So congratulations to the both of you on that. All right, so I'm just gonna go right in. Let me just read this first one off. Okay, the first question, it goes to the both of you. I can safely say that both of you were targets in this game at one point or another. So, what did you do specifically to save yourself when you heard your name was out there? Give me 2 specific things that you did to change the position that you were in.
I can go first. So as I was saying in my like opening speech, after you got voted out, it was pretty much like written on the wall that I was the next one to go. So my name was thrown out constantly. And instead of really like getting freaked out by it, I kind of rode that wave and used it to my advantage. So using the shield strategy that I had adopted, I would say the first example was I think this was final 7, where Hannah and Elise were kind of like at the top of this like majority like 6 alliance, and I just didn't like, I knew I was at the bottom. I knew like whatever I did, like I just kind of had to go out in a blaze of glory. So I threw their names. I was like, these 2 are going to win the game if they get to the end. And I found that crack in that majority 6 alliance and got them to flip and get either Hannah or Elise out while also flushing out Hannah's idol at the same time. So I'd say that's the first example. And then the second example would be when I created a narrative between Lauren and Davey, who also had connections on the jury. We're also a dynamic duo come the final 6. And I crafted the narrative to say like, these guys are, if they get to the end and they're going to go together, they're gonna win because they have deep connections, and 2 votes in a final 5 scenario is deadly. And so in order to save your game, we need to go for one of them. So Lauren got the boot first, and then I was able to convince people to get Davey out the second. So I would say those are the 2 examples where I kind of like changed like my fate and the strategies I used to do that.
For me, I had my name on the chopping block like the first tribal of Sycamore. So I had it actually 3 times on the chopping block before merge happened. So technically my rep of being on the chopping block started before merge. So it's almost like by the time merge hit, people already had that developed idea that Amaranth is on the bottom without me like even forcing it. I think because like straight up because of that first tribal and we separated right after on the swap, I'm sure people found out like Amaranth was a vote at some point and it just stuck. So I use that to my advantage. I use that same image as like my advantage. And a lot of the times when I would talk to people, and like let's say I was still on the chopping block, I kind of like I would play kind of like that puppy role, like, oh my God, like I'm on the chopping block again, like, you know, like once again. And I just kind of kept using that image to my advantage, especially during merge. There was a couple of times where people would be like, oh, have you heard names? And I would even sometimes even say my name, even if I didn't hear it, just because like I wanted people to keep that narrative that even Amaris knows herself that she's on the bottom and like she feels like she can't do anything. So I really use that same narrative to my advantage. And of course, I used everyone around me like as a tool. I don't think I could have got my name off of being off the chopping block if it wasn't for the people around me themselves. I think because those seeds had already been planted. And I know Marcus takes credit for planting the seeds about like Lauren and Davey and all those people, but I think those things already existed even before merge hit, and I had already heard those rumors from other people. So I think those seeds existing, like legit, like those leaders, those pinheads existing, I also pushed them. Like I would even talk about sometimes my own allies as like positives, because instead of, I wouldn't be like, oh, like so-and-so is like needs to go, but I would be like, I think so-and-so is such a great talker, like blah, blah, blah. And so I would flip people's positives and like continue to paint them as so like up there and continue to like I would purposely almost like overshadow myself in conversation. So I think that was my main tool to like eventually get my name off that chopping block. And Marcus himself played a great role in this, because since he came into that merge on the bottom, and I came into that merge on the bottom too, but instead I clawed my way up. And I think I like, because he was on the bottom, I used that to my advantage. And like, I would kind of low-key even paint Marcus as the bottom one sometimes with me. Like, I'd be like, me and Marcus are the ones on the bottom. So just my conversations with people really helped.
Cool beans. Okay, second question. Were you guys playing a game to get to the end or playing a game to get to win? And what was a move you felt secured your position in the end?
So for me, I wanted to go with a strategy to get myself to the end, but with the situation I was in, I knew I had to take the game round by round instead of thinking so far in advance. That's why, like, round by round, like, I know that seeds were planted, you know, to get some of these big people out. But the difference is those people were trying to get me out. So it was basically like, I need to get them before they get me, because my name was written down every single time, I think since like the final 8 or 7, but the end result was always that person who wrote my name down got sent home. And so like, as I was taking it round by round, like I realized once I was getting more people to trust me, so like Kevin R and Amaris, and knew that they would vote with me, I knew that I could use that to my advantage to get some of the people that were like in the way of me, like potentially getting to the end and potentially winning. And I would say the thing that secured that was winning the last immunity challenge, which was endurance, and having to stay there with, and I give credit to Amaris too, because we both lasted 3.5 hours with a cup against a wall. But I think like securing that win and then having the decision myself who I wanted to take to the final two secured that fate for me, knowing that like, okay, my fate has been in the hands of someone else who's maybe won immunity challenges before, but now the fate is actually in my hand, and I actually have the power to control my fate and get to the end. So I think that's what really secured it for me.
I think for me, I came into this game knowing that I was going to give it my all 100%. Like, I know I'm a very quiet person and stuff, but I knew that I was going to try my best to get to the end. And if I got to the end, obviously win. But I'm not going to deny, in the beginning, when things like were like unexpectedly kind of took their turns, and then I was on the chopping block a couple times, I did feel discouraged, and I thought, I'm not gonna make it. Like, I thought, like, I really did think that, but I buckled down, and kind of like, I think on one of the weekends where we weren't online that much, I even talked to people in real life, and they're like, dude, you need to focus. Like, it's not the end for you. Like if they're gonna be like cutthroat with you and put you on the block and stuff, like, you need to be able to do the same. And it kind of like snapped me back into my initial thoughts. I think I kind of play like a very casual player, in the sense where like I kind of let other people do the talking first, and they're like thoughts I already have. And then when I hear the thought that I wanted to hear, I'm like, yes, that's what the name I was looking for. Like, I'm down. Like that. Like, I try to keep a subtle profile. But when things started, when I hopped into that merge, I knew that I couldn't be too subtle anymore, and I was going to eventually have to be more out there, especially when I noticed that things were going downhill for the people that I was closest to. So yeah, I think from then on, I knew that I really had to change my fate. I really had to cut people off if I needed to find a way to the end, to find my way to the end. Like, I knew from then on that once I like shed those things off of me, that I was going to be able to do anything to get to the end, because that was my goal at that point. I just kind of like wanted to prove everyone wrong, in a sense.
All righty. Well, I wish you guys both best of luck. Try not to be too nervous, just answer these questions descriptively and just the best that you can. And good luck, you guys. Good luck. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, next up we have our fourth juror, Nick. So Nick, whenever you're ready.
Hi, congrats both of you. First of all, I'm very excited that we will be getting a POC winner. The first one, I think, HAVOC has. Maybe you could have brought Kevin B and I along as well. That is fine. And first of all, I want to say, like, if anything about me not playing the idol, that I would actually, like, there were multiple reasons for me not playing the idol, but if there was a person that I would like link me not playing the idol to, like Amaris said, it would be you. Like, I was hoping it would be a 3-3 tie somehow, and then like we win out the tie. But yeah, so that's I put it on you 100%, and respect on that.
Thank you.
So my question would be, you got to play the game with me, and you also got to play the game against me, and you also got to know me as a person. What do you think I, as a juror, am looking for in a winner? And do you think you embody those things, both as a person and in your game as well? And Marcus, you can go first, because I've known you longer and played with you more in the game, so you have there's more to think about. Yeah.
So I think since I've played with you the longest, I think out of like really anyone up until like you got voted out, I would say the person you are looking for to win wasn't afraid to kind of make big moves and capitalize on opportunities to make big moves, because you yourself are a big player. And I think the player that you'd want to win has a very, very good social abilities and able to kind of get people like on their side. And I feel like that is something that like you embodied like as a player. And I knew from the time like I was with you, like you were that person. Like I knew that if you got to the end, you would 100% win because you were able to get everyone to not only love you, but know that you were a big threat and still kind of like control the vote in a sense, you know what I mean? And so I would say for me personally, like, you know, obviously it was a rocky start at the beginning of the merge, but I really did get my footing during the whole flip on Hannah and Elise and getting bigger threats and dressing up people as bigger threats than myself all the way up to the very end. And I feel like that took a lot of social ability and a lot of guts to, you know, again, my name was already out there. My name was already getting written down every tribal. But I had to kind of get that out of my mind and not care about it as much and take that risk to get people who were bigger threats than me that could win the game. So I hope I answered your questions as descriptively as possible.
For me, sorry, what was the full-on question again? I was processing everything that just went on.
So I want you to, like, what do you think I am a juror? Like only me, not the rest of the jury, just me, am looking for in a winner, both as a person and as a player. And do you think you embody that?
Okay. Yeah, so I think I definitely embody that. And I think pre-merge, I had so many doubts in myself, but then heading into merge and then me taking control of like my fate, like I basically like detached myself from my alliance of people because I realized in that whole pre-merge that everyone was playing each other and everyone was playing me. And at the end of the day, if I kept letting them do that stuff, I wasn't going to get anywhere. So I knew that I had to cut off people. I knew that I had to gamble people's games, people who were my allies, like on your vote. When I do take responsibility for that, but I don't like to brag about it. But I do feel like I did help a lot in that because I was persuading you and I was very convincing. I legit remember that day I put on an actress role. And so gambling like that on like you possibly playing that idol and my biggest, because I had already thought in my head, I want to go to the end with Marcus, but I don't know how I'm going to make it happen. So that day I was ready to take that gamble. And I knew if I lost Marcus, it wasn't going to hurt my game because I knew if I lost him in that round and you played that idol, that I was going to find a way to get everyone to work with me still. Like I took that gamble knowing that Marcus had a chance on going home and I was okay with that. And even going to the end with Hannah or like people like Kevin R, I was actually not really scared of them, to be honest. I felt like I could go against them because I felt like at the end of the day, I contributed to them going for a reason. And I think it was because I was really able to control my fate and work with so many people, but at the same time play against them at the same time without them realizing that I was. And I think that's what you look for in a player. You are a very outspoken person, but at the same time, I think you could respect people being subtle. I mean, that's why Marcus and I are here, because we had to go against big people like you, big threats, and we had to find a way to maneuver situations and get people out, or like getting you out. So I think you could really respect that, especially not getting you to play your idol. I mean, that's, yeah. And besides that, as just a person, I feel like I had a great time talking to you. Like when I met you, like I thought you were so awesome. And I was like, wow, where has Nick been this whole game? Like I know people labeled you as like kind of villainous, especially when we played that like touchy subject game, but I actually like didn't even like write your name for some of the questions because I didn't even find you that crazy. Like I actually was really super open to working things out with you and stuff. So yeah, as a person, I think you could respect me too, or respect my game.
I think they were both good answers, not just because I got compliments involved. That was not the purpose of the question also. Nicholas, do I still have time?
You have 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Okay, just a quick one. Amaris, I feel like a lot of people on the jury feel like they worked with you and they feel like they came up with plans with you. I think one thing that you should make it very clear moving forward as the game goes on, as the questions go on, is that at the end of the day, you are your own woman. And regardless if that plans were good for you or the plans were bad for you, you made the decision to go with that plan. And I think we have seen through your answers and through the votes that regardless if it fucked up your game or it didn't fuck up your game, that vote would not have happened had you not take agency and go with the plan. And then Marcus, I think you need to embrace that charity vote. Like, I don't think it was a bad thing. Like, I think it was a really solid move on your part, and you almost flipped the entire tribe doing what you want. Like, did it end not in the direction that you wanted it to go? No, it didn't end that well, but it was absolutely the right thing for you to do, and you should own that you tried to do something regardless if it failed or not, because that was the right play for you, I think, at least. And it's also something that people should respect and that I respect and that you should respect about yourself. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Okay, next up we have Elise. Elise, whenever you're ready.
I'm on mute. Hi, guys. First, I just want to say congrats to you both for making it to the end. It's super exciting, and I'm just really proud of both of you. And I'm rooting for both of you. I really hope you continue to do well. I think you've both been doing really well so far at Final Tribal, and just keep pushing, really own your games like Nick was just saying. And yeah, I'm gonna get into my questions. So first off, just a question specifically for Marcus. Marcus, do you think that Josh Blindside ended up being good for your game or not, and why?
I would say no. It wasn't good for my game. My plan was I was hoping that he would go into the merge with me, and he would kind of be my challenge shield, like the person who was always good at challenges, and the person, and his name, like knowing him from my tribe, his name was always kind of being thrown around, like just regardless. It was thrown around in the first vote. And so I knew like having someone like that on my side would at least like protect me for a round. So I wanted to continue. I wanted him to be like in the merge and continue, my game with him. And I know that would have resulted in you going home as well. And I also did want to like work with you as well, but I knew from our first conversation that you knew what you were doing. You were a good social threat and a very good strategic threat. And I knew that it would come to bite me in the butt more than it would with Josh. So I did want to take him to the merge. And I think it was still a good move to take him out, at least for your game, absolutely. But to answer your question, yeah, I think it did change my game a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And now a question for both of you. So and I think my fellow jurors as well, value a pre-merge game. What do you think your pre-merge strengths and weaknesses were? We'll start with Amaris.
I think my strengths were that I was like a team player. So at the end of the day, whether I was already looked at a certain way or not, like right off the bat, at the end of the day, I don't think people can deny that like I was a team player. And so I think forming at least those bonds and relationships with people around me, like right off the bat from my first tribe, and forming in like an alliance like super quick, those things helped me down the road in pre-merge. But I will say that like once again, like luck does have something to do with it, because we got pretty lucky on Camp 4 2.0. I feel like that was like a good gap where like we didn't have to force strategizing. And I'm not the type of player, I'm not gonna be like forcing people to talk to me about game when there's no need to, and like force people's brains to rattle. But I couldn't help but deny that right then and there I was already thinking about game. And when I was on Camp 4 with all of you guys, like I got to meet you, I got to meet Hannah, I was scared. Like I was like, dude, even though I'm good with Kevin, Tori, Charity, I am scared of all these people. Like I have a feeling they're gonna try to like they're gonna get close to it. Like everyone's gonna get close to each other, but these new people are like big threats. So from there, I think my strategy was just trying to stay a little bit in the middle ground, a little bit low profile, because I knew there was just so many big figures. I didn't want to stand out too much. And like I said, there was no need to stand out. And I had already stood out from my first vote when I kind of was the one that led the vote to go to Christian. So I felt like I needed to stay low with Tori, Kevin, and Charity, because they probably were already looking at me as, dude, Amaris kind of caused that vote. So I think a lot of my strategy was just trying to connect with people and find people that I knew, like come merge, I could have in my corner. Like I remember when I met you, Elise, my first reaction was like, Elise is like gonna be a big threat. But at the end of the day, although I eventually would like them gone, I want them in my corner because I know they're going to be beneficial to my game. So just, and sure enough, that did come to benefit because you were the reason why I knew about German gunning for me. So I think a lot of my strategy was just on relationships, on bonding, and planting seeds a little bit and sticking to my low profile because I thought that was kind of best for me in that moment, especially since I was being targeted a lot.
Okay, just really quickly, sorry, before Marks go, I just wanted to say that German wasn't really targeting you there. Like he actually at the end of like the vote, he did say like he actually obviously he didn't end up voting for you. So that was kind of just like a little bit of a manipulation. But anyway,
yeah.
I do have a question though. What would you have done, or like what would you have pushed if New Camphor had gone to tribal? Like what do you think you would have done, Amaris?
So I think going back to that whole figure thing, I think if Camphor would have gone to tribal, I would have pushed for somehow for Sycamore to stay strong. That was my goal. Like even when merge hit and like the whole the whole Kevin versus Charity like scenario was pretty much happening. Like it was basically them kind of going at each other. I was like, dude, my plan has gone to shit. Like the two because I kind of wanted to stick to Charity side because I knew in the beginning of the game, I knew I wanted to work with Charity and Kevin B, but I knew they were going to clash. Like I even put it in my chats, like these two down the line are not going to benefit me being together. They're going to go at it. And so my goal was to keep everyone together, that alliance. But when I saw like Kevin forming his own things and me trying to form my own things, and then even Charity forming her own things, I knew it wasn't going to work out anymore fully. So I knew I was going to have to like try to play the middle ground and like try to please Kevin's ideas and then try to like still, you know, make Charity, you know, like feel and know that like I'm still like trying to write it out with her in the merge, like just little things like that I had to really be vocalizing. So I think I would have eventually got them to try to vote one of the other members out. I would have advocated like, hey, they're beasts, like they need to go. Like yeah.
All right, Marcus.
So for your original question, I definitely think that when I came in the pre-merge, I did want to lay low as well, kind of go with the flow, see which direction like the votes were going to go, because you know, I didn't really know you know, the concept like of orgs, and I kind of wanted to again get my footing. So I did try to make as many relations as I could. My original tribe with Dusty, Josh, Nick, Hannah. And that came in handy when my name was first brought up on the first tribe swap with the new Camphor and the original 4 Camphor folks, you know, like kind of seemingly sticking together. And my relationship with Dusty and her wanting to like kind of keep me in her corner. She helped me kind of lay groundwork for Lauren and Megan to flip and vote out to Shara. Because those 4 were gunning for me. And I had a feeling that they were going to gun for me because I wasn't going to be advantageous in their in-game plans. And so after that, with the relations I formed
2 minutes left.
Sorry, say that again.
Oh, sorry, I was just 2 minutes left.
Okay. So with the relations I made on New Camphor, I knew that Megan was going to be a big strategic threat, and I knew that she was going to cause problems in the future. So that is why I wanted to push her to get voted out next. And then when it swapped to, I'm sorry, I think when it swapped to like the Purple Tribe, I already kind of had like bonds formed with a good majority of the team. Besides obviously you and Charity. And even though that did result in a blind side, and that was kind of like, the beginning, I went to the end of my game, but like it was kind of like the start of the downfall. I still did make, good bonds for those people to work with me in the merge, even if it was seen as like a number. It still helped me advance up to where I am now. So I would credit that to the relationships I built.
Great, thank you. And just because we have really little time, I do still have like 2 more questions, so just answer super, super briefly. What was a turning point for you this season? Please describe what happened and how it impacted your game. Amaris, super brief, please. Thank you. You're muted.
Yeah, the turning point for me this season was definitely finally like ending, like cutting off even Kevin, like voting with the majority. Like I think that was a huge turning point because it declared that I was free from that past. Like it was the final statement, and at the same time it opened opportunities for everyone to see me as someone they could work with full on.
Great, thank you. Marcus?
For me, it was the Josh blindside because it made me realize my position in the game and made me realize, it humbled me, 1, and 2, it made me realize how hard I really do have to work and that I can't really lay in the shadows. I have to be the person that's, out and about and making moves that are visible. So that's my turning point.
Great answers, guys. And just really quickly, I think I might have like 45 seconds left, but what was—
Nope, that's it.
Oh.
Sorry. The thing would have just went
no.
off. I'm sorry, that was 10 minutes.
It's okay.
Gotta keep it even.
Okay, good answers, you guys. I just want to say one last thing. Good luck. Just keep pushing. My vote is still not decided, and I think that a lot of jurors, it's the same for them as well. So just keep owning your game and yeah, keep going.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elise. Okay, next up we have Lauren. So Lauren, whenever you're ready.
Hello. Okay, so first I just wanted to say congrats to both of you. I know neither of you are like really seasoned players, so I'm really proud of you for getting to this point in the game. Like me and Marcus, we talked about it so much. Like I'm proud of you for getting this far. Like we always said, like sticking together because it was our first game. But I think I speak for a lot of the jurors when we say we did not expect the final 2 to be you guys, and I think that's a really impressive thing to be proud of also. I think you both played a really kick-ass, like under the radar game that allowed you to skate by through different votes. And even if other people don't think that, I still think it's true. And you had a really hard journey that is just really something to be proud of. So again, congratulations. So my first question is, I literally just want you to say a name, first off, just say a name. So say I got up here right now and I was like, my mind is made up. Literally, you can't say anything that will change my mind. Like my vote is locked. Who am I voting for? Like, who do you guys think I'm voting for out of the 2 of you?
I would say myself, Amaris.
I'm going to say Marcus.
Okay, so since both of you said yourself, like, tell me why you think I specifically am going to vote for you. Amaris, you can go first.
I believe you're going to vote for me because, I believe you're going to vote for me because I made it this far by literally placing myself in a position where I felt safe enough to like contribute my voice to a lot of votes, especially towards the end. And I think you could respect my game because, like you said, it was under the radar. And I just feel like I put a lot of work to get into this place. Like I know a lot of people, like how you said, they probably think like I skated to get here and things like that, but I really beg to differ. I started feeling like I could win this game a while back, and I think you guys probably started like feeling it too, even though you guys like underestimated me and stuff. Because I was doing a lot of things that people didn't see. I was subtly saying things in conversations. I was agreeing to votes when they were what I wanted, when they were my personal agendas. And I think that's kind of like a similar game that you played at times. Although I do say you called a lot of shots, so you played a whole other game. Like I can't like compare, but what I'm trying to say is that I think you can really respect my pathway to the end. And I feel like that's why you would vote for me. And yeah, I mean, I'll leave it to Marcus. I have a lot more thoughts, but they're just coming out like a jumble right now, and I don't want to lose time.
So I think you would vote for me because the journey getting here. I know we both Amherst and I have underdog stories, but I feel like the big difference is that the person whose name was always on the line to go home was myself for the majority of the merge. And I had to scrap and claw my way up to get to this point to surprise everyone on the jury that, you know, Amherst and I like are here and not them. I also feel like you respect that, you know, I saw you as a threat. I think you were very, very underestimated. And I knew from talking to you and also getting blindsided by you, that you were more, excuse my language, mom, badass than, you know, anyone in this game. And I knew that if you got to the end, you would hands down win. And so I feel like you respect, you know, the way I respected your gameplay, and, you know, kind of taking moves out of your book and having to backstab some of the people that I needed to in order to get to this point. So I think that is why you would cast your vote for me.
Awesome, thank you. I like that you acknowledged like the difference between your games, because I was gonna like touch on that. But so my next thing is, this is more at Marcus for now. So like, as you know, perception is like a massive, massive, massive part of this game. Like whether it's true, whether it's not, like whatever like is in my head about like what I think, like that's like what is happening, like in my perception. So from the jury's perception, people are a little confused about the Elise vote, because it kind of like, from what we know, it was more of like me, Davey, and Kevin kind of leading that. So we just wanted you to like elaborate and help us understand like how you orchestrated that vote.
So I don't know if I would necessarily say orchestrated, but I think that I capitalized on people who wanted to make big moves and wanted to build their resume, so that if they got to the end, they would kind of say like, yeah, that's my move. Like that's what I did. So I wouldn't say I necessarily like led that. I needed people to do it for me because I couldn't do it alone, and no one really wanted to work with me. So again, like I would say that like, yeah, it was a seed that was already kind of planted in the beginning. And people knew that Elise was a threat. People knew that Hannah was a threat, but I was able to capitalize that, knowing that they were gunning for me. And I knew that if, you know, I knew that they were going to write my name down regardless. And that's something that I had to, again, like just kind of like go balls to the wall and like throw out names. Yes, like I do agree that like, again, everyone probably knew and everyone had that idea like already. But I feel like I was the most to kind of like capitalize on that and like outwardly say like, these two are threats, we need to get them out.
Cool, thank you. Prad, how much time is left?
3 minutes and 30 seconds.
Cool, so I'll do Amherst's question really quick. So I don't want to take up the rest of the time with this, so just kind of like acknowledge it. But so again, going off of perception, like throughout the game, a lot of the perception about you was like that you were inactive, blah, blah, blah. I reached out to you and I tried to like go against that and be like, I don't see you as inactive. I don't want that to happen. Like, I really think people are underestimating you, blah, blah, blah. Even after that, I kind of didn't get the vibe that you like wanted to like talk to me, like not like in a bad way, like in a game way. Like I didn't like feel like you wanted to like work with me or reach out a lot. So like what can you like say about that to make me like feel better about that in terms of like thinking about your game?
So I'm gonna be honest, going to the merge, like I said, like I knew there was a lot of threats coming in and a lot of people coming in. And I don't know if you realize this, but I feel like I heard your name, like I heard a lot about what you were doing a long time, like straight up in the beginning. And so you made me nervous, like in the best way possible. Like I knew that talking to you was like so lovely. Like I was like, yes, I finally get to meet Lauren, like the girl with 100 pets, like blah blah blah. But then like I knew that underneath all that sweetness, I couldn't get it out of my mind that I knew you were doing the most on your tribes. Like I knew you were part of the main people that were calling the shots. So when I started talking to you and stuff, like luckily the beginning votes, or like the votes that we did kind of vote together with, luckily people between us, helped influence that, and like your communication between you and I just naturally happened. But when you really tried to work with me, by then I think it was a little too late for me to want to work with you, because I knew taking you to the end was going to be too risky for my game. I knew that if you went to the end, you could win. And I totally mean that question, that my answer for the touchy subjects when I said who could win and I put down Lauren, that actually was truth. I totally had the perception that if you would be sitting here with me, like I was so open to your idea, but I knew if you would have been sitting here with me, you have such a great way of speaking. And even before you approached me, I'm not gonna lie, but I was already thinking that I wasn't fully on board to trying to work with you, because I can't work with someone who I want to like fully vote out. Do you get me? Like I couldn't fake that with you fully. So
1 minute.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Now, normally I end my jury questions with like compliment me, but I think I got enough. So again, like thanks so much. My mind wasn't made up. Like when I said that first question, I still am open. I'm really looking forward to hearing the rest of your answers. And again, like you both played wicked great. I'm really happy that I got the chance to play with and to meet both of you. So good luck.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Okay, next up we have Davey. Davey, whenever you're ready.
Hello, guys. First thing, I just want to say big congrats to you two. I'm extremely proud of both of you. And I know you may not be expecting this from me, but my vote is 100% live right now. I'm still not decided on who I'm voting. So my questions are going to be pretty short. I don't really want to spend a whole lot of time talking about my question specifically, because I'm honestly a bit more curious about what everybody else has to say past me. But I just want to go through our relationships for a bit, because my entire game was centered around loyalty and people that I trust and wanted to work with. And so let me start with Amaris, because she was on my tribe first. Amaris, you were the first person I reached out to in this game. I reached out to you. I was like, I really like your vibes. And then when we called, we just didn't mesh. And, it is what it is. Like, not, my personality can't mix with everybody. It's fine. That's life. But in a game sense, I tried to work with you, even coming back from the merge and from that point onward. And, we just never really called until it was kind of too late. So personally, I'm finding it hard within myself to vote for someone that I know was never truly loyal to me. But at the same time, after talking with the rest of the jury about gameplay and whatnot, I do believe you actually played a pretty good game. Although I didn't personally see it. So that's my personal issue with maybe voting you tonight. Marcus, after getting swapped with you and talking to you, I really, really, really wanted, like, if I had it my way, I'd be sitting there next to you, like, completely honestly. Been through thick and thin together, we voted for each other twice, like, but we could still always come back together, talk about it honestly, and talk about it like men, It's like, we're on opposite sides of this game, but we can put that aside and just be friends still. And I really, really like that about you. And I really do want to see you win. But I am kind of with the jury on the whole perception of you weren't really in control of a lot of your game. And I'm having trouble voting for you for that reason. So my first question is going to be off of loyalty, because that's, in my opinion, the most important part of this game. And that's going to be top two people, first and second. Just say names. Who were you guys most loyal to throughout the game?
Marcus and Kevin. Kevin R.
Oh, sorry. And I would say Dusty and Amaris.
Dusty and Amaris. Okay, interesting. All right. And then my second question for you guys is, throughout the different stages of the game, pre-merge, like during swap and whatnot, who do you guys believe were the most loyal people to you?
Pre-merge, I want to say, like, I really want to say that Kevin B and Tori were loyal to me, and I would want to argue that Charity was too, but I came, like, you know, at the end of the day, I started realizing you can't trust anyone in the game. But I mean, we all have that experience. But yeah, I do think they were loyal to me at the end of the day.
And for me, and again, this could be totally wrong, I felt the people that were most loyal to me were Lauren and Dusty. Pre-merge, before like the whole like, you know, Josh blindside,
Yeah.
I would say that the people that were loyal and the people that I played with the most at that time, and felt like they were loyal to me at that time, were Lauren and Dusty.
Okay, how about for the merge?
For the merge, I would say definitely Amorous.
And then for the merge, for me, Marcus and Kevin, I felt were loyal to me. It's more Marcus.
All right. Well, I guess that's it from me. Thank you guys. I got what I wanted. Keep talking, keep fighting. My vote's still in the air, but I wish you guys the best of luck.
Could I say something real quick or no?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I like from what Lauren was saying, like I did want to clear up the whole perception thing, and maybe I did definitely like misword it during my opening statement. You know, I'm not taking full credit for like all those moves because obviously I needed help and I needed people who wanted to work with me at the time. What I was just trying to say is, you know, and I kind of credit it to Kevin B. After he left, he started saying, "You guys need to start making moves in this game because like I don't want to vote for someone who coasts to the end." And I knew, and during my position, I couldn't do that. And so like, I'm not trying to like say, oh, this was all me, because I know you guys wanted to make big moves and you had ideas in your head already. But I was just trying to say that like knowing this and knowing that my name was always going to be the one on the block every single vote after that, because I mean, I got the most votes for the next boot thing on the touchy subjects, you know, whether that may be true or not, I mean, there was some truth to it. And so I knew that I had to do something and not coast. I couldn't really lay in the background. I couldn't be under the radar because people were throwing my name around every single vote. So I wanted to kind of clarify that. Like I had help with a lot of these moves, but I credit myself in like not really caring at that point and saying, we need to get these people out. We need to get Lauren out. We need to get Davey out. We need to get Hannah out, all the way up until the end. So that's what I meant by all that, if that clears anything up.
Okay. Amherst, do you have anything you want to say real quick? Because I know I've got a lot of extra time.
I mean, I guess I could chime in here and add some stuff I've been wanting to clarify actually this whole time since my speech was cut short. I want to add a lot that I feel like pre-merge, I had a very like shaky game, kept being put up on the block due to my inactivity. And I want to go back to you bringing up our relationship. Like I 100% agree that Davey, when I first met you, I thought to myself, out of everyone in this tribe, I want to work with Davey. I like his vibe. And when I got that message from you, I was like super happy. But I later, you know, started realizing this is a game, everyone's playing hard. And, you know, I couldn't help but to think, you know, maybe Davey sent this copy and paste message out to everyone. You know, because it just seemed so sudden, you know. But I want you to know that like on that first vote and stuff, like I still really wanted to work with you and stuff. So like literally the whole time, like I was like low-key pushing for Christian. Like I was still like, I never had any intention on like wanting you to go home that night at all and stuff. And it's unfortunate, like you said, that we didn't get to connect until much later in the game. And I do regret that, because like when we did connect, like, you know, you had so many good ideas, and I was really like, damn, maybe Davey's gonna persuade me right now. But I knew it was too late for my game to do something like that, because I already had my end game plan. And that being said, my end game plan like really consisted on making sure Marcus was never voted out. Like I needed Marcus to stay in the game because he was in a way my extra vote to make sure things went my way. And I knew he had my back 100% because I had formed that relationship with him until that point. I was the only one like always trying to like keep up with, I mean, I wasn't the only one, but I made sure to really strengthen that relationship. So I feel like that's why we were super close, and he looked to me for, you know, as an ally. But I feel like I really contributed to him sticking around a lot longer, because I would advocate for him a lot when I would have conversations with other people like Kevin and Hannah. But at the same time, when I would have those conversations, I had to super downplay my relationship with Marcus. I would say comments like I'm not too sure like where Marcus stands. Like I would have to like really talk to him and convince him. I would say a lot of comments like that, because I didn't want people to know that I genuinely did want Marcus to stick around and be there to the end with me, because I needed him. I needed him not only because he was like my amazing friend and ally and all this, but because he was literally integral to me getting here to the end, because I needed his vote constantly to be there.
I can confirm you definitely did do that for me. I would not have seen you guys being like that specifically close coming. I can remember specific times in our calls when you said that. Just gonna wrap this up. Thank you guys so much. Like, it honestly was a pleasure getting to call you Amaris, just to be clear. And I did not copy and paste that message. Like, that was the first thing I typed out. But I didn't send that to anybody else also. But yeah. Good luck, you guys.
All right, thank you, Davey. Next up, we have Hannah. So Hannah, whenever you're ready.
Hey guys, I just wanted to start off by saying congrats. I'm really proud of you both for getting here. My first question is, what do you guys think was your biggest strategic move in this game? And I want to hear like, what was your thought process behind the move? Like, how did you feel it was going to get you further? How did you work with others to pull that off? What were like the consequences of the move, whether it was like positive or negative? And just, yeah, so just like one move and just kind of like everything that went into that move. And like just making sure that it was like your own move that you did.
You want to go first, Marcus, or okay, I'll chime in then. I think I have a couple moves that I consider strategic, like on my end. But I think the thing that really does stand out is me fueling the Nick situation on that vote. I think I really, even though I didn't create the plan, I necessarily, like, we were all thinking it, like we all wanted Nick to go that round, but I think I really contributed to making it happen, because what people don't realize is that in my position, I could have worked with Nick wholeheartedly. I totally considered it, even rounds before, when Kevin B was like about to go home, even when Tori went home, we had already been talking to Nick a lot and trying to like possibly like change things up and try to work with him and stuff. So I really could have chosen there and then to tell Nick, hey, play your idol. They're gonna vote you, like you need to do it. But I chose to hold my guard, and I was like legit on that call, acting like an actress, and at the same time talking to the rest of you and making it. Well, I was really with you guys on voting Nick, but I also needed to do what was right for my game. So I really did consider, okay, do I vote with them or do I completely flip things around and go with Nick? But I knew that it was in my best interest to help you guys get Nick out, even though there was an opportunity for him to be safe and work with me. So I think that was my biggest strategic move, was making sure that Nick didn't play his idol, because I mean, it was a gamble. At the end of the day, it was a gamble, but I do think it was strategic that I knew even to that last minute, I had a good feeling that he wasn't. Based off my observations on the last rounds, how he was very iffy about working and like he would like be wishy-washy on his answers. I could just tell based off his cues that he wasn't going to play it. So I consider that my biggest strategic move.
Okay, and sorry, before you go, and how do you feel like that impacted the rest of your game? How do you think your game changed after that moment?
I think it changed after that moment because I knew that once again, Marcus was going to be like on the bottom after that vote, because I knew he was voting wrong. And I could have told him like, hey, you know, you're voting wrong, but I chose not to, because I figured, okay, there's a couple options here. Either Marcus could go home if that goes into a split vote, and probably since Elise had a lot of allies, I felt like people would have chose Marcus out, voted him out. I still knew I could redeem myself, but luckily things went well. So the way my game was able to change was from then on, Marcus continued to like find himself on the bottom. And in a sense, since I already had such a great bond with him, I was able to really strengthen that bond and connect with him even further. So that, and from then on, I confirmed with him, like after that round, I confirmed with myself that I wanted to go to the end with Marcus, like in my heart and in my mind, like I knew it, like, okay, like I need to find a way to make sure that from here on out, like we both are, we can find a way to stick around. Like I can find a way to keep Marcus here, because I knew he was going to help me reach the end game. And I feel like by doing that move, it also helped me connect with the rest of you guys and help you guys feel like I was ingrained there and that I was willing to kind of like do whatever you guys said in a sense, and kind of like play that role. Like, you know, I'm sure you guys thought I could have flipped and you guys were probably like, why didn't she flip? But I felt like it was better for me to stick with the group that was in place at that moment to just kind of smooth things over a little bit and not, and kind of like pick up my grounding again, since so many events had just happened with the whole Kevin and Tori votes and all that.
Marcus?
So I would say the move that I can take ownership for would be the charity flip. And this was like, I think an hour before the first merge tribal, knowing that Charity's name was on the line and knowing that I could work with her, you know, for the foreseeable future in the merge, and that would benefit me of having, you know, a strong ally and an ally that I could also use as a strategic shield. I again wanted to flip the script on someone else who wasn't Charity or Amorous, because Amorous's name was also out on the block as well, and I knew that I could also have like, no, I wouldn't say like use, but I could also like kind of like utilize her for the future, like, you know, down the line through the merge, as that other person that would vote with me every time. So I didn't want those two to go, and that's why I pitched Tori's name, knowing that Kevin B probably had an idol and was going to play that idol. I tried to kind of shift it somewhere else, and getting the whole tribe per se to flip and vote Tori, you know, for an hour 45 minutes before tribal. And I wouldn't say I did this like by myself. I did discuss it with Kevin R, you know, during like the whole pre-planning, and he did help kind of spread it to other people, so probably other people did hear it from Kevin R. But I will say that, you know, like during that vote, like I get like, you know, obviously, you know, I had leaked it and whatever, and I think that affected maybe like my bonds or relationships that I could use in the future, because, you know, a lot of false narratives were created about me through the game, and one was being that I had leaked like Davy's vote once, you know, Kevin B was voted out, and that's the reason why, you know, I didn't know about the Kevin B vote, because, you know, people were afraid I was going to tell him. So like I think that did like kind of affect it in a way. But, you know, like Nick said, like, I'm not saying that I'm ashamed of that move. I say it was a mistake for not really thinking about it from a game perspective. When I told her that her name was out there, I saw someone who was kind of spiraling and freaking out having their name out there. And I know how that feels. And so that's why I did what I did. But I think the move to, if it did happen and Tori was the one that ended up getting the boot, I think that I would have had two really good strong allies between Charity and Amorous. Whether that may be true or not, I think that would have been my two closest allies that I could have you know, used further like in the merge. So that's the move I would say, you know, is my most proud one.
So I feel like kind of throughout this night, like originally you were kind of saying that you regretted the move of telling Charity, and now you're kind of saying you're proud of it. So like which one is it?
No,
Like, do you
not
think
the
it was a
move
good
to
move?
no, sorry.
2 minutes, by the way.
Not the move to, I'm saying that the mistake of telling Charity, I'm saying the move to save Charity is one I'm proud of. I don't regret trying to save Charity. That was the move I was talking about. The mistake I think that affected me was because I had leaked that vote, or I had leaked it to her, and people found out that I told her that her name was out there, made people not want to work with me or trust me. That's the mistake I was trying to showcase. Does that make sense? I don't know.
It's kind of like the same move though, right? Like one thing that you did had like two potential outcomes, and because it didn't work, like, right?
Right. Well, no, I'm just saying the mistake I made was telling her that her name was out. I was saying that the move to save her, like to get everyone else to flip and vote for Tori, was my move. So I say it as two separate things. I don't think it was a mistake to try to save her. I think it was a mistake to maybe tell her that her name was out there. That's what I was trying to say. I don't know if that clears it up or anything.
Yeah, no, that definitely clears it up.
Okay, sorry. I just didn't know if that.
That's okay.
That sounded more.
That's okay. I just wanted to ask you guys one more question. So if this game was a final 3 instead of a final 2, and you had a choice to put 2 people in the end with you, who would you put and why?
So instead of 2 people, instead of 1, yeah. If I could have chose like from anyone in the jury or like in general, is that what you're asking? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know, in the beginning of the game, my mind was made up that like I wanted to go to the end with either like Charity, Kevin, or Tori, because I did have that mentality, like whoever I made friends with, like, you know, I wanted to go to the end with in the beginning. But then when I realized things were, you know, not perfect, my dream final 3 was Kevin, Marcus, and me. That was like my dream final 3 for sure.
So I'm gonna copy. So my dream final 3 was the final 3 that happened between Kevin, myself, and Amaris. And I wanted that to be the final 3 because I felt that that would have the best opportunity to kind of like judge all 3 of our like underdog-ish stories, and leave the jury more open than already kind of deciding to pick like a power player. I definitely think Kevin R turned into a power player at the very end, but my original thought, you know, like before, like everything was, I wanted to go with Amaris and Kevin R because we have very similar stories. And I think it would come down to, you know, who portrayed the better story instead of like taking a power player like yourself or Elise, Lauren, or Nick.
Okay, that is the 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, 10 minutes is up. Hannah, any last words?
No, that's okay. Congrats to you both. I'm very happy that you're both sitting here. Good luck.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hannah. Okay, next up, we have the 9th and the final member of our jury, Kevin R. Whenever you're ready, Kevin.
Long time no see, pals.
Hey.
Hello, hello. Much love to the 2 of y'all. I seriously love you 2 very, very personally, and it brings me such joy to see you both here. I think my questions might not be super duper positive and quite pointed, so just bracing you now. But I do think you both played a great game, and it was super fun working with the 2 of you. So this is all just me trying to understand your game a little bit more. Nothing pointed and nothing personal here. So one thing I think we all as a jury are missing right now is neither of you talked about the end game at all, in terms of I haven't heard enough about the final 6 and on. And from my perspective, Hannah and I led the final 6 and final 5 votes. But I want to give you the opportunity here to correct me if I'm wrong, fully enlighten me on how either of you contributed to the final 6 or final 5, and feel free to even contribute to final 4. I don't think final 3 is relevant here. And we can start with Amaris. And I'm going to try and time box these things because I have a few questions.
Okay, yeah, try to time me off. Final 6. So after the Nick vote, you know, is that final 6 when Elise was still left? No, that was final 7. Okay, so final 6 up to Lauren vote. After Elise left, I knew that there was a couple powers players left. No matter what, I knew I wanted to go to the end with you and Marcus. That had already been in my mind It was my dream Final Four was like up in the air, but no matter what, my four always involved you, Marcus, and me, because ideally that like was my final three. So final six, not gonna lie, there was many figureheads and you guys helped power the votes, but I already was seeking the opportunity to cut off certain people like Lauren and Davey. And you must have known that they came to us, you know, seeking help, or not seeking help, but like seeking people to flip with against like Hannah or even you at some point. But I knew it was in my best interest to stick with you and Hannah. And like Lauren tried to advocate to vote out Hannah instead of like one of them. But I just wasn't gonna do that, because at that point, even though Hannah was like a super, super huge threat to me and I wanted her gone ASAP Rocky, I knew that I wanted to take your opinion always into account. And I knew you had a working bond with her, even though I didn't see it. And it became more clear to me on the Davey vote, because I know you guys were suspecting that like me and Marcus were closer than what you thought. So I know you guys were possibly thinking like, okay, what if we just vote out Marcus instead of Davey? But I really pushed you, especially because you and I had a bond. And not gonna lie, like, because there was some absolute truth to me wanting to go to the end with you, it was easy for me to tell you things like, hey, no, we need to stick to what is best. And so I feel like I really helped push for Lauren and Davey to go home. Instead, like I was like that final confirmation. I even confronted you and Hannah, like when the Davey vote.
I think that this answers my question. Sorry, I'm just gonna time you there. But that was thank you for those great answer. Marcus, love to hear from you.
So I would say that, like I said earlier, I had to take it round by round because that's how I stayed in the game for as long as I did, and that's how I was able to survive as many tribals as I did, because I had to take it round by round. I had to find the person who was the biggest threat of that round and kind of push them, even if the seed was already planted, so that I would get them before they got me. So starting at final six, I think the person I got out was Lauren. Again, I think people were already seeing Davey and Lauren as a dynamic duo, but I wanted to help kind of push that narrative of saying like two people in the final five who have, you know, who are on the same page and do the same vote, it's going to be dangerous. And it was dangerous because Amaris and I did the same thing all the way into the end. And so like my end game was taking it round by round and not really looking so far into the future. But by dressing someone up that was bigger, like a bigger, better threat to win the game than me, so that it could in turn inch me closer and closer to the end when I could finally kind of like take power back and try and move votes in my favor. I think a lot of it was because I was working basically kind of alone. It was hard to get people who wanted to work with me. And that's why I said like I wanted to kind of like contribute to those seeds that were previously planted. So I hope that answers your question, but that was like my end game, trying to get further and further each and every round.
That makes sense. Thanks, y'all. I'll move on to the next question. I have two individual questions for y'all here. And I'm speaking on behalf of the jury. I just came up with these throughout Tribal, and I think these are the two missing questions for each of your individual games. So one is from Marcus around your strategic game, and one is for Amaris around your social game. So Marcus, I unfortunately feel like you laid down and died several points in this game when your back was up against the wall and your name was on the chopping block. But I'm one person. I have limited perspective on what you tried to do when your back was against the wall. So I need you to enlighten me on what you did when you were on the chopping block to actually save yourself. And if you need examples, here are two times I can think of, which is the German vote, which you addressed yourself, and the Nick vote, where we had no idea if he was going to play the idol or not. And to my understanding, you did not do anything at either of those votes. So I need you to address those two and any other votes. And if we could try and time cap it at 90 seconds, that would be great.
Sure. So I think those were two of probably the lowest points in my game, because I knew that the writing was on the wall. And, you know, I'm not proud to admit that I kind of gave up. Like I was just mentally exhausted. Like at that point, my name always being thrown around and always being at the bottom. For the German vote, I will say, like I said in my opening statement, I got lucky and got saved by you, Elise, Charity, and I think Amaris, because you all were willing to flip and vote German out over me, who was seen just like as an easy target. For that one, I don't know. I kind of like, I didn't want to say like give up, but I was trying to like think of something to do to get me out of that situation. And I knew like, I knew you said like, hey, like, I want to talk later. Like, I kind of have a plan. You want to hear it? So I was like, kind of like, waiting for that vote. So I could have done more. And I admit that I could have done more, but I kind of thought the writing was on the wall and I did give up. For the Nick vote, I don't, that was also a low point because of the whole touchy subjects, and it did hit hard. And I was like, again, at a low point in the game. So like, yeah, like, and people can even admit that like when I was texting them, like it sounded like I had already given up. But maybe it wasn't like the biggest or flashiest move, but in order to try and survive and try and like save my game, like I lied to both Elise and Nick saying that I had an idol or had an advantage. They probably didn't believe it. But I think that was a move that like I at least was trying to like stay in, trying to move forward and trying to like, pull the wool over their eyes, like thinking that I have protection when I really didn't. So I think that was something that I was trying to do, whether it was, it might not have been successful, but I did try to do that.
Got it. That answers my questions, and I completely understand what you said, and that is helpful, I think, for everybody on the jury. So thank you. Amaris, my question is around your social game. And I want to ask, what exactly happened with your social game that several people in this game were always confused about where your head was at? I need to know, was that intentional, or did you feel like you struggled to connect with some people, or were you intentionally trying to confuse others about what your path was? People struggled to understand where your head was at, and I'd like to understand what your perspective was on that. And we're running out of time here, so quick would be better.
Okay, so I expected to come in and like have a low profile because that's the type of player I've come to realize I naturally am. And it goes back to just how I am in person. I mean, I'm a very chill, quiet person. My friends would describe me as that. I'm not a loud talker. I'm not gonna speak if I don't need to. I'm more of a listener. I like to observe, and all my friends can vouch on that I'm a great listener. So I think a lot of the times when I would talk to people, like I wasn't full on social, like maybe how others were, and that maybe threw them off, and maybe how I came across in the tribe chats were different than privately. I will say though, I took that and I like made it positive. So like I knew already pre-merge that I had this misconception, and like coming merge, I was gonna meet people I had never seen before. So I was lucky that I found you guys before merge hit, and I was able to come like have like a clean starting relationship with you. So I feel like that's why maybe you didn't fully see that side of me, Kevin, like others saw. But I took upon that, and like if people were gonna think that I was like this untalkative person and like whatever, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be that person. I'm gonna let people think I'm confusing, and I'm gonna let people think that I don't know what I'm doing. Like when I voted Nick with the charity round, I knew what I was doing. Like I knew that the vote was either gonna be on Tori or charity, but I purposely chose to throw my vote on someone random, and I chose Nick because I knew he was a big target and stuff anyways, like he was a big threat in my eyes.
I'm gonna cut you here, but that absolutely answers my question. Okay, so I had 2 more questions, but I know I'm running out of time, so I'm just gonna ask one more.
Your time is actually up,
Great,
Kevin.
amazing. But seriously,
so
I know my questions were a little more pointed and heated, but I love you two dearly, and like I'm so happy to see you out at the end, and one of you is gonna be a winner tonight, and that's super exciting. I did want to ask your favorite memory in this game, so I'll just ask that you reflect on that, because there's a lot of good in this game. Tonight probably doesn't feel super great and amazing, but I want you all to leave here knowing you are the final 2. You did it, you made it, and one of you will be a winner tonight. So be proud, and whatever happens tonight, you've got a lot of friends coming out of this game, and you've got a good experience coming out of this game. So sending you much love and much luck. So see y'all.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you to all the members of our jury for your wonderful questions. It is now time for the closing statements. So Amaris, as we said before, you will go first, followed by Marcus. You will each get 3 minutes. I will give you like a 1 minute reminder when you're getting that close. Okay, Amaris, you are good to go.
I just want to say this game has been an absolute pleasure. Like I said, I did not expect to play this org. I was a last minute addition. So coming into it, I wasn't fully mentally prepared, but I worked with where I was placed, and I met some amazing people that without them, I wouldn't have had started with a decent footing. But no matter what, pre-merge consisted of me escaping the negative image people had on me. But come merge, I used that image to my advantage. I knew I had to start playing just as scary how other people were playing, and I decided to do it in a more subtle way. I decided to do my thing, whether it was throwing my votes on people that didn't affect the vote. I didn't care. I did those things because I wanted to be my own independent person, and I didn't let the perceptions people have for me phase me. Instead, I took advantage of those negatives and flipped my game around. I took advantage of the relationships I formed with people when other people were shutting down Marcus. I took advantage of that. I took advantage of the underdogs, and I was able to be at the end of the game in between the underdogs and the big top dogs. And I felt like being in that center position and flipping back and forth, even if it looked bad, really helped my game. And I gambled a lot, but it was worth it because I knew that that's what I needed to do to take to the end. Even trusting Marcus, he could have flipped on me at any point and been like, you know what, maybe, this girl, there's more to her than what I'm thinking. Even Kevin, but I really pushed to them. I really pushed my image and my agenda, that I was low, that I didn't know what was going on. I seemed lost in conversations come that merge. And I did all those things on purpose because I knew come to the end, I was gonna make it. And you know what? Taking Kevin and Marcus and forcing it to be a final 3 worked to my advantage. And I did that on purpose because I knew even if I lost that final immunity, that one of them was gonna take me. And I was not afraid to face Kevin because I knew that my story, even though we were all underdogs, my story was very different. I was an underdog from the start, unlike these people who might have put themselves in those positions. Like when I say people, I mean like Kevin or Marcus, by making mistakes, making moves that didn't execute correctly, thinking following other top dogs orders. I technically didn't do that. I was still playing my independent game, even though I made it seem like I was this little puppy fully falling around. I knew people were dragging me to the end. I knew that people were trying to see me as an easy vote to the end, but I took upon that and I used it to my advantage. And I planned for this to be my final 2, and I got what I wanted. And I'm so happy to be up against Marcus. And no matter how you guys vote tonight, I'm just so proud to have made it here. And I'm so proud to have made it with my best buddy. We both were underdogs in this game, and we both made it to the top, even though no one thought we stood a chance. And I couldn't have asked for anyone better to have gone against. But yeah, I do feel like I was responsible for this ending, very much so, because I planned it, I manifested it. I wanted Marcus to make it to the end with me, or if not, I knew Kevin was a great person to go up against. Either way, I knew I stood a chance, and I went up to my game.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Marcus, it is now your turn for your closing statement. Whenever you're.
So I do want to start this off by saying, no matter what happens, I have had a good time. I've had, again, the most fun that I've had in a while. My day-to-day life is pretty stressful, and I did have to start this, in the middle of my semester for grad school. But I still wouldn't trade it in. I never thought that this would be this online Survivor experience, has really, it's been what I've been talking about for the past month to friends, family, my girlfriend, and everyone is just is excited and watching now to see this moment, because I think they were also they were also just very surprised of how well I did and how hard I worked to get to this point. So I would say for my closing statement, Yeah, I do believe that Amherst and I have very similar underdog stories, and you've been hearing that all tribal. I again think the main difference is that while Amherst was able to kind of coast through votes and kind of like manifest a way to get to the final two, I did have to put a lot of hard work because my name was always on the line. I knew I wasn't going to be able to win every immunity challenge. I feel like I sucked at most of the immunity challenges. And again, I was like seen as that person on the bottom that people could get out at any time, but they never actually did. And I really dress that up to my strategic ability of having at least two big threats in front of me at all times, planting seeds when I needed to, and surviving the most tribal councils, out of anyone in this entire game. I had to try and like fight and claw my way up here. And I think honestly, like it didn't really start taking a turn until maybe like final 7, final 6, because I was alone. Like no one really wanted to work with me. No one trusted me.
1 minute left.
Thank you. And that could have been just a fault of my own. And, I guess I did make mistakes along the way, like I, admit, but I am still proud of my game. I never envisioned this to be the journey, but I'm proud of that journey, and wouldn't change it. Like, could it have been easier? Sure. But would it have got me here? I don't know. And using the determination I have to last this long and then beat out, one of the biggest contenders to win, probably Kevin, while taking Amherst to the finals, by winning out that challenge. I think it's a testament to how hard I really did work to get to where I am now. And I hope that you all can take that in consideration. And for the people, if any of you do cast a vote for me, I do want to say I truly, truly and gratefully appreciate it. That's it.
All right, thank you, Marcus and Amaris. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. Thank you both. It is now time for the jurors to decide who they think should win HAVOC Season 5. So this is to the jury. We're going to do it the same way we've been doing it throughout the season. We're going to message your prod chat, the Zoom link. You will go in, vote, give a quick reason, because there's 9 of you, and then we will read the vote. Okay, so Marcus, Amaris, just hang on tight, and to anybody who's watching, we'll be back with the vote. And we're going to go alphabetical order, or the order that you were, alphabetical, sorry.
Hannah, you're unmuted.
Who the hell is playing music?
I'm sorry. My friend wanted to play music for the situation, you know? He's just playing some
Oh.
guitar.
It
about
goes
I
so
sing?
well.
I feel like it really made sense.
Also, to the jury, we're gonna go in the order that you guys were voted off, not alphabetical.
I seriously thought Prod was playing that. I was like, wow, they went all out.
They want you to sing. Sing.
I don't know what I'm playing.
That's all. Good night.
You know what? Let's turn off the messages on Zoom since y'all want to act up. Okay? Kevin R. and Charity and Davey, specifically to you three.
Mm.
I play Wagon. starting. I'm hoping for right.
Okay. Give me one more minute. Here we are. Okay. Before I get to the vote, I just want to say thank you to a couple different groups of people. I wrote it down so I don't forget anybody. So first, I obviously have to thank the wonderful cast. Each and every single one of, no, Amaris?
Oh wait, is Marcus here?
Yeah, right, Marcus? I see him.
Hey, I'm right here.
Sorry,
What?
I couldn't see you on the screen.
Okay, so I'm gonna thank the cast, each and every single one of you, no matter where you placed, whether you went out first, fifth, second, whatever. Every single person has impacted this game one way or another. And as Ali from production says, when you cast an all-star cast of all great people, each boot hurts. And that was definitely the case for this season. So thank you for making it for another great season. And then I have to thank the VL, the Viewers Lounge, anybody who followed along even on the Facebook page, but especially to the dedicated viewer lounge members, the people that followed along with the streamed calls, watching the confessionals, watching this 3-hour endurance challenges, because people did stick around for that, I know. So thank you to all of those people. And of course, thank you to production. I know I'm on production, but thank you to all the members of production who helped out this season. Obviously, it wouldn't be able to be done without all of you. So great work to all. So I have tallied the votes for the last time this season, and the person with the most votes will actually be the winner of HAVOC Season 5, A Summer to Die For. But tonight you want to see your name written down, okay? So we'll get to the vote. First vote, Amaris. Second vote, Marcus. Third vote, Amaris. Fourth vote, Amaris. Fifth vote, Amaris. Sixth vote, and the winner of Season 5 of HAVOC, A Summer to Die For, Amaris. Amaris, congratulations. If you have anything you would like to say, of course, you can come off mute. And the jury, if you now want to pop on camera, you can. Amaris, the floor is all yours though. And then Marcus, you can go after, okay?
Oh my God, you guys, I am so happy right now. I'm gonna scream, I just can't, my family's here, they've been watching and everything. So yeah, thanks for voting for me. I know this game was so crazy and a lot of shit happened to all of us, but they all know I've been dealing with this for the past month. But you guys have all been, you all have been such amazing people throughout this game. I consider all of you friends. My social game was questionable, I know, but legit, I love each and every one of you. You all brought something special to this game, and I'm just so happy to have had the honor to play with you all. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. I'm just so freaking happy right now. I'm just so happy.
Take it away, Marcus.
Okay. Well, Amaris, congratulations. No matter the result, I was going to be happy because I am glad that it was the two of us that, did end up in the end, because I don't think anyone really expected it. And it's been really nice getting to know you and getting close with you, each and every round. And I consider all of you like friends, obviously, but, I definitely think I got the truly closest with you. So, I'm very happy. And honestly, I'm just glad I wasn't the first one to put it out. So congratulations again. You earned it. You balled out. Nice job, girl. Good job.
Thanks so much, Marcus. I'm so happy to have made it to the end with you. You're you became my bro in all of this. You seriously were a great influence to me to want to get to the end, because when I saw what was going on with both of us, I knew that out of everyone here, I really, really wanted to be here with you. So I'm so happy it's us at the end here.
All right. Well, once again, congratulations, Amaris, and also congratulations to Marcus, because I mean, second place is, something I can't even do. So both impressive games. Really proud of both of you. And it is now time for the reunion, where we can, hash it out, or whoever has stuff to say. We'll go through each round. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I think that's going to be on another Zoom link, so the pre-jury can also be there. And thank you to anybody who is still watching. Thank you to everybody who followed along. Thank you to the cast. It was a really amazing season. And yeah, that is all for now. Good night, everybody.
Let me see the Facebook.
You will all be invited back to the Facebook. You'll all see the VL in a couple hours. We'll slowly undo it. Okay, don't worry.
A couple hours. Add us to that shit right now.
We'll do it.
I'll fight you, Nicholas.
I'm not afraid. Good night, everybody.
Okay.
See you on